Week 4, guys. Minnesota Vikings time. So, Minnesota. Episode 4. We've done the Bears, Green Bay, Detroit. We're going to finish off the NFC North today with the Vikings. And then we'll give our final predictions at the end of which team's going to rank. If you watch each episode, you kind of figure it out. But we'll go and give you a recap of the winner of the division. And if we think you got any other playoff team or wildcard teams in that division. But as soon as we get on with the Vikings, we'll do the recap. So welcome back to the Crazy Sasquatch. We'll get going here. Vikings. They had a heck of a lot of draft picks this year, but they lost a heck of a lot of players. They lost some good guys on defense. Xavier Rhodes, Wayne's both gone. Stephon Diggs, I think maybe the biggest element they lost. I mean, you're talking some speed. Just a hard-nosed player out there. You still got Thielen, so you still got your number one, I consider number one wide receiver, but you lost your number two guy in Diggs. That's going to hurt a little bit right off the bat. I had these guys coming up pretty strong at the beginning of the season, but now that I'm hearing Devon Cook may hold out. You know, he's wanting more money. He's holding out. Depends how this whole preseason goes with, you know, they're talking about shortening the preseason games from 4 to 2, and, you know, this whole COVID-19 thing, we don't know what was going to happen. Cook holds out. Ouch. You lost, you know, one of your main weapons on offense. I don't know what's going to happen. That could dictate a lot. I mean, we'll see. They picked up a lot of draft picks. We'll see how many of them pan out. We got a lot of them on defense, some wide receivers. So their biggest one is going to be Justin Jefferson. Is he going to replace Diggs? Probably not right off the bat. Halfway through the season, possibly. You know, he could be the number two guy. They've really taken some of the double teaming off Thielen. We'll see. They still got Rudolph as their tight end, which he can block, he can catch. So they may have to rely on him a little bit at the beginning. Defense, I think, is going to be a little bit weaker. Looking at their schedule from last year, guys. Against the Packers, 0-2. Against the Bears, 0-2. They did beat the Detroit, both games 2-0. Against the rivals in their own division, they were 0-4. Not real good, guys. Some of the teams they did beat last year, Dallas, New Orleans was a close one, but there's kind of a revenge match from the playoffs a few years ago, and Philly. Teams they lost to was Kansas City and Seattle. So, and they had some other wins and losses in there, but it was probably non-playoff teams. A little tougher schedule, I think, this year than last year. And I said, overall, they got a lot of young talent on this team. So, Brett, go ahead and say what you have to say, and we'll get going on the schedule.
Before I make any of these videos, I always watch prediction videos of all I can to get information, so I predict accurately. And the thing I have about the Vikings, they're always predicted first in the NFC North, over 10 wins. I haven't seen one prediction below 10 wins, and I don't think they're not gonna get over 10 wins just before we do that.
So we'll find out here. I said we don't double take this, we don't edit it, we go with it. I kind of glance at the schedule, but what we say and what we do, how we pick when we get up there, we'll go from that. So let's get ready, and I said before in some of our other videos, this is an overall season recap. We'll do week by week once we get into season 1, actually points and how much we think they're going to win and lose by, and fantasy league players. We think they're going to have a good game. This is just an overall recap of what we think they're going to see in the season, and see how good we are. A couple fans, so. Green Bay. Okay. We beat Green Bay 2 episodes ago. I had Minnesota beating Green Bay. Devon Cook, I did not know about his holdout before that. That may change things if they don't have their number one weapon running against Green Bay. The reason I chose this is because Devon Cook, Green Bay has a really tough time stopping the run. You know, right there, you got a very fast, speedy runner, elusive runner. That's the reason I gave Green Bay the loss at Minnesota. I thought they'd have their number one weapon. If they don't have Cook, this could change. Justin Jefferson's going to be a rookie. You know, his first game in the bigs, I predicted a little better outcome on this one, or on Green Bay on this one. But being factors and others may change, but I can't change it now, so I'm sticking with a loss in week 1. Anything to say on that one?
Not really.
It is what it is.
It's gonna be more of a deficit since their running back is out, and that's the number one weakness for the Packers defense. So
If Cook plays, I agree with this. So if Cook plays, yes. Cook don't play, yeah. Okay, going at the Colts. So going with this, they're 0-1 now. Going into Indy at the Colts inside stadium, kind of what they're used to, some speed. Phillip Rivers against this, Colts they're a playoff caliber team. I think they'll be in the playoffs this year. I don't know about the Vikings. We'll see how things pan out for the good, young team, young players. A few veteran guys kind of lead the way, but I think right now, being with the Cook and some other things going to happen here, Indies don't have all that problems right now. I think they have 2 main big running backs, Mack and Jonathan, the rookie they got from Wisconsin, Taylor. He's a tough running back. I'm going to give him a loss at the Colts on this one.
And the Colts have Phillip Rivers and T.Y. Hilton, and the Vikings lost three good defensive players, and I think Phillip Rivers and T.Y. Hilton will just get tons of yards. I think 1 or 2 rookies may start as a Vikings defense, but I don't think in this at Colts, I don't think the Vikings have a chance in this game.
Okay, week 3, Tennessee comes knocking. Derrick Henry's going to run. Got some decent wide receivers here. A veteran quarterback. Playoff caliber team with a very tough defense. I don't think all the rookies are going to be ready by week 3 to defend all that yet. Hate to do it to you, Minnesota, but I think you're going to be 0-3 to start the season. Just too many tough teams right here, guys.
At Minnesota, Tennessee, and they're facing Tennessee. Tennessee, overall better in every position, on offense, and I think defense. I just don't think it's a fair matchup against the Vikings. I don't think, again, same with the Colts, I don't think they stand a chance this game. They may come in like a touchdown or a field goal, but I think Tennessee would be leading the whole game.
Texans, going to be another tough matchup. Mobile, strong-arm young quarterback here. Yeah, they lost their number 1 wide receiver. The Texans did. Still got a pretty decent defense. Running back, they always do well with whoever they have there. Can the young rookies on the defensive side of Vikings stand out all that? Be ready for all the this different stuff coming at them from Watson. I don't know if the rookie's going to be there yet. But this time, hopefully, after 3 losses, they're probably going to go to Cook and say, hey, we need you, man. We need you. We're going to make the playoffs. We need you in here. If this starts happening, I think Cook could come back just kind of like Ezekiel Elliott and some of these other players that held out last year. Melvin Gordon. I mean, they want to play. They think they deserve more money, which they probably do. I mean, Cook had a really good year last year. But once their team's down like this, the team knows they need them. The players like, I can get out there, I can produce. At 0-3, they're going to be wanting Cook back. Texans, I don't know if they got enough weapons. They got some good players. It'll be a close one. But I don't think the Vikings are first win of the season right here, guys.
And at Texans lost the number 1 wide receiver. Vikings lost the number 1 receiver. But I don't think the Texans lost that many players on defense. And the Vikings lost their 3 best people on defense. But I think the Vikings' defensive line is still above average defensive line. And let's say they do have Cook, I don't think that's not enough firepower to get through the Texans' defensive line. He will break through to get a couple long plays, but again, with Minnesota above average defensive line, so do the Texans. So even if the running back comes back, I don't think it's enough firepower to win against the Texans at Texans.
at Seattle. It's always hard for a team in the Midwest to go out to the West Coast. Seattle beat them last year. Seattle's going to have a good team again this year. A lot of rookies, seeing a lot of veterans, Russell Wilson, the running back crowd they had out there, some really good wide receivers. Seattle's going to have a pretty decent defense again this year. Can't see him pulling this one off.
At Seattle. Again, with what I said with Tennessee, Seahawks is overall better on both sides of the ball. Their defense in total is above average. Russell Wilson, running quarterback, one of the best in the league. He'll probably see openings if the rookies on the Vikings defense make some mistakes. He'll take advantage of those, and with their running back, he'll get a lot of yards, distract the defense. And I don't think, again, with the 3 weeks in a row, I had 4 weeks in a row. I think it's gonna make 5 in a row for the Vikings to lose.
Okay, Atlanta's coming into the town. Atlanta, couple really good wide receivers. Matt Ryan, good quarterback, not very mobile, but good quarterback. Running back situation, I believe they got Gurley. I think Gurley went to Atlanta. I don't know how he's going to hold up. I mean, the last couple of years in Rams, getting kind of banged up at the end of the season or middle of the season. That's going to be an X factor here. You may have a passing game, but not much of a running game. By now, the rookies on the Minnesota team have kind of seen what it takes. Minnesota's going to be kind of hungry here. Only one win. I don't know where Atlanta's going to be here. We'll find out that when we do another episode on Atlanta Falcon episode. But this could be a must-win for the Vikings to even stay in the hunt. Packers, the Bears are going to be more wins than this right now. This is going to be a must-win. I think they're going to have to do what they're going to get done to win this one, just because they have to.
And at Vikings, they do have Gurley as a running back, Matt Ryan as a quarterback. Vikings defensive line will probably get like 3 or more sacks this game. With Julio Jones as a wide receiver, he'll probably, with Matt Ryan as a veteran quarterback, with Julio Jones as a wide receiver, and maybe the 1 or 2 rookies starting as a defensive back, it's going to be a very tough matchup for the Vikings. And it's like a must-win, but again, even if they have Cook back as their running back, with Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and Gurley, I don't think they can handle that. So they're losing for the first half of the season.
All right, we got a much-needed bye week coming up with these guys, kind of recoup. Coming in, then they're going at Green Bay, so they had a week to kind of recoup, knowing by now their season's on the line, halfway through the season. By now, Justin Jefferson seeing some playing time. They signed Tajay Sharp. He's learned the playbook by now. You got Thielen. You got 3 probably decent wide receivers now, along with Rudolph out there. Hopefully, by now the defense is coming together. I see them. That's the reason I see the Vikings getting a win here. I think they kind of come together. It's a pull one out at Lambeau, kind of a surprise game here, guys. But that's the reason I got it that way. I do.
Other than their running back may or may not be there, I have nothing to add to that game.
Detroit, Minnesota beat Detroit twice last year. I don't see any great improvements right now. See why Detroit will beat them at home in Minneapolis. So that's the reason I gave the Minnesota the win here. Detroit, same. Yeah. Same. Okay. Chicago, we got Chicago beating them at Chicago at Soldier Field. Chicago's, I think, going to have one heck of a defense this year. I mean, for how much they were on the field last year in Chicago, and they still had the stats that they did. People are really downplaying. They don't think they're going to be that good. They had some key players this year. I think Chicago's going to be a tough one. I don't think Detroit's going to have enough to pull this one out. So there's that one. All right, week 11, Dallas. Hopefully the Dak Prescott saga is done. Hopefully the Devon Cook saga is done. They get their full teams, their full players back. If that's the case, Dallas is coming in there. Dallas, you still got a couple of decent wide receivers. I like Gallup. He's going to be fantasy league players guy if you can get him cheap. I think Gallup's going to be a good one for Dallas. Still got Zeke Elliott. You lost your number one tight end in Witten, but he's got a couple of young rookie tight ends on, or not rookie, but some young tight ends on Dallas. Defense should be decent. I don't know if Minnesota's got enough to keep up with this one. It's going to be a shoot 'em out game, probably 30, 37, 35, something like that. I think it'll be close, high scoring game. But sorry, Minnesota. I think Dallas is going to pull this one off.
At Minnesota, Dallas did get a new head coach, I believe.
Yep.
So they'll make less mistakes, in my opinion, and they'll probably choose better plays on offense and defense. They have probably above average offense and an average defense, and the Vikings probably have an average to below average on both sides. Maybe an average or above on defense, on defensive line, but like with all the other games, they don't have enough firepower or enough defensive backs to handle their offense.
All right, and Carolina comes knocking a week after that. I do like Teddy Bridgewater. I think he's having a good comeback year. In charge of his own team instead of backing up Breeze in New Orleans. Remember that name in Fantasy League too, guys? Bridgewater, I think he's having a good game. But I don't know if they got enough. I mean, by this time, you look at Minnesota, it's a must-win. It is a very must-win game for Minnesota. They got Christian McCaffrey, Bridgewater, some decent receivers. Lost their number one defensive leader, Kuechly. I don't know where Carolina is going to be at real well. Minnesota, this could be a must-win. They're going to come in there. They got to win it. They got to win it, and it's going to be at home, loud crowd. Another close one. I am giving Minnesota this one.
This is a very close one. Both of their defenses went down. Vikings offense, they lost their number one receiver. Carolina, they gained a very good backup quarterback, probably the best backup quarterback. It's going to be a very close game. If it was at Carolina, I would give the win to Carolina. But I think this is going to be a surprise win by the Vikings, and they're going to win against Carolina at Viking Stadium.
Jacksonville, Minshew. If Fournette's still there, don't get traded. I predict he'll probably still be there. They got some decent wide receivers there in Jacksonville. Defense, I'm not 100% sure of. By now, Minnesota's young team has probably come together, realized the season's on the line in Minnesota again. So, for that reason, I'll give Minnesota another win on another must-win game, or the season's going to be over with.
At Minnesota, Jacksonville, their defense is declining every year slightly. And this year, Minnesota's defense has gone down a lot. And Minnesota's offense is a little worse. And from last year, Jacksonville, their offense has got slight better. But I think Jacksonville is in probably 1 or 2 years will be above average team, but this year they're probably below average team. I don't see them have enough wins this year, but I'm giving the Vikings their third win of the season against Jacksonville. 2 wins in a row.
All right, guys, going to Tampa Bay against, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers with Gronkowski.
And Mike Evans.
Yeah, Mike Evans. Tampa Bay's going to be looking for the playoffs. Minnesota's going to be looking for the playoffs. They can get a 7th win here, probably an 8th one. They're looking probably maybe a 500 season. Hopefully they can, get it, slide into the playoffs. We'll see. You're talking Tom Brady. You're talking a very high, exciting Tampa Bay Bucs team right now. It could be an interesting time down there in Tampa Bay this year. I think they'll be a playoff caliber team. Brady's got to learn a whole new offense, but his little managing the game with the veteran skills he has, I think he should be able to do that. I think At Tampa, I just can't see Minnesota pull this one off. They're gonna give everything they got to try to beat Tom Brady. I think he's just too much of a veteran, smart player. And the weapons around him, I don't think Minnesota's going to be able to do it. I really don't, guys. This may be where Minnesota's season starts slipping through their fingers pretty quickly here.
So at Tampa, they have Mike Evans, Gronkowski, and Tom Brady. They're probably gonna, with those three veterans, they're probably gonna pick apart the Vikings' defensive backs. And at Tampa, even if it was at Minnesota, I don't think Minnesota would win. I think it's going to be a definitely 10 or more deficit over the Vikings, and I don't see them winning this game at all.
Chicago, guys, Bears smell blood in the water. They can knock a division opponent out of the playoffs with this game, if not already knocked off. Bears are going to be coming in there thinking, not worried about these guys in the playoffs. Let's get this team out of our way. Bears are going to be probably on a high coming into this. I think they have a lot more wins than the Vikings at this point. But they still, if you can knock a division rival out of the playoffs where you ain't got to face that same team a second or third time, do it. Chicago's going to come in here. Minnesota, they're going to try to fight on this one. But 6 wins, seventh win here. Your season's hanging by a thread. I think Chicago's going to come in here mad. I think they're going to come in here mean. That's the reason I got Bears winning this one.
The only thing I have to add about this is, ever since the Vikings got Kirk Cousins, Bears are like their kryptonite to the Vikings. They've gone 4-0 the past 2 years ever since they picked up Kirk Cousins.
Going to New Orleans. Okay, New Orleans. I know Minnesota, New Orleans, the last couple years in the playoffs. You got the Stephon Diggs miracle catch. It knocked New Orleans out of the playoffs a couple years ago. Last year was a revenge match. Guess what, Vikings? You don't have Stephon Diggs to bring that energy to this game anymore. Yeah, you still got that rivalry of, you knocked us out of the playoffs. Stephon Diggs was that key part of that. He was the player that made it happen. That happened around. You do not have that player. I don't know if they're going to have that energy coming in this game. New Orleans is going to be playing for the Super Bowl this year. I think they're a playoff. I know they're a playoff team, probably a Super Bowl caliber team. They're going to want to win this. I think he lost a little bit of the excitement because of Diggs being out of this one. I think Minnesota's going to come in here after 2 losses, kind of flat, at a very loud stadium down in New Orleans. Sorry, Minnesota. I guess your season is done.
New Orleans is probably the first or second best team in the NFC. And at New Orleans, Vikings, I don't see them winning at all. And they're, like I say, with about half of these, I think, they're veteran wide receivers and veteran quarterback. They're going to pick apart these rookies on the Vikings defense. And again, with most of the above average to above average teams, I don't see a chance of Vikings winning any of these games against playoff teams. So I'm going to give them another loss of the year.
So I got the Vikings going at 6-10. Brett's got them going at 13-3. Ouch, Vikings. Brett's done a little more research the way it sounds than I have. I'm going with my gut feeling of players and what things may happen. So, being that said, 6-10 for me, 3-13 for Brett. For the NFC North division, guys, Brett has the Vikings last at 13-3, then Detroit at 6-10, Packers at 7-4, the Bears at 14-3. Myself,
7-4?
or 7-9. Sorry, 7-9. I can't read my own writing. Sasquatch handwriting in here. 7-9. Sorry. So anyway, Bears winning, then Packers, Detroit, Minnesota. Myself, I got Minnesota at 6-10, tied with Detroit at 6-10. Packers 1 game ahead at 7-9, and Bears at 14-2. So we both got the Bears winning the division at 7-9. At the next best record for the Packers, both of us got the same 7-9 for the Packers.
And for your prediction, the Vikings should be 4th since the last game they fought Detroit, and So they should be bumped down one since Detroit won the last game against each other.
That is true. So, yep. So Detroit's going to be up one in Minnesota. Minnesota's will be last in the division for both of us. Bears will be first in the division for both of us. So in that division, Bears make the playoffs. Packers are 7-9. Packers are 7-9. They're not a 500 team. I don't think Packers are going to make the playoffs this year. See what happens with that, with the whole Aaron Rodgers and Love draft pick combination happening there. There's been rumors, what if Rodgers goes here, Rodgers goes there next year? It could happen. If they have a losing season, don't make the playoffs, it could happen a lot quicker than in a couple years. So
well, if they do lose it, if they cut Aaron Rodgers this year, after the season, that's like a $20 million dead cap space in there.
Pick up some good players for that. Or trade him around. See what happens in New England this year. I've heard rumors about, Rodgers could get traded in New England. That'd be a dangerous team, or, here or there. So he wants to go. He lives out on the West Coast. He might be traded out the West Coast somewhere. But at any rate, Bears win a division. The only team in that division going to the playoffs. So, wait for our next episode. Episode 5, we'll start a new division, guys. And we're going to start with watch and find out. I'm not going to tell you who we're starting with the next division. So, could be AFC, could it be NFC? You have to watch the crazy Sasquatch and find out. See you later, guys.